Hello everyone. This lecture will introduce you to the youth and changing forms of citizenship. The emergence of new media technologies has transformed the notion of communication and has brought several changes in the political participation of youth, which has never been so active any other generation before this. The use of radio by first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, was a landmark beginning, and the use of television news chats and visual presentations also was a landmark moment in the changing forms of citizenships. The major change that was witnessed was with the emergence of new media technologies like social networking sites, blogs, YouTube, video games, and especially with internet and smartphones that has completely transformed the ideas of political participation and changed the idea of citizenship. This lecture will help you in understanding the role played by the news media technologies in the creation of active citizenship. This lecture would also make your ideas clear about how the notions of being a citizen have transformed with the popularity of social media and how social movements, protests, boycotts have become easy for the common citizens who were marginalized and unheard in the mainstream media. You will be more informed about the concept of citizen and citizenship and a more political and cultural concept. The lecture also explains how social media has been extensively used as a voice of dissent by young citizens whose voices were not heard before and had no platforms to share and circulate their dissent and to contribute in democratic process in an active manner. What is youth and who is young? The idea of being young varies in different parts of the society and is a cultural, social and political terminology. The definition provided by the international institutions has also been not satisfactory, and United Nations General Assembly in 1985 defined young people as those who are falling in the age group of 15 to 24 years, whereas in European Union the age of being called as young is 13 to 30. The definitions of being young and who is youth vary from culture to culture. Similarly, the participation of youth in political process also varies from country to country. The term youth and political participation of young people is also governed and defined by different laws in different political systems. There is a perception that young people are not only the future of the country but also at present and have their own identities, values, wants and needs to contribute in their own ways in nation building. It means that youth participation not only means that young people must participate in political system but also start taking part in decision making process, as the youth participation will help in strengthening the democratic process and also will enable to understand practice and active citizenship that was missing in the previous generations. To paradigms of youth engagement. There are two paradigms of youth engagement. The first paradigm consists of young citizens who are realistically active and engaged in all aspects of political, cultural and social life. The other category consists of young citizens who are relatively passive and disengaged. These two paradigms of youth engagement, like any other paradigms, consist of diverse core ideals and doctrines. The emphasis of engaged paradigm specifically emphasizes generational changes in collective identity, which were the byproduct of the ever-increasing significance of peer networks and online communities. According to this paradigm, if there is a question mark on the efficiency in terms of credibility and authenticity of several public institutions, which are defining features of political life, the entire blame is put on government policies and performances. The engaged youth paradigm is a gateway to several new kinds of civic actions in various online spaces like MySpace. However, in contrast, the disengaged paradigm of youth involves and acknowledges more and more independent forms of public expressions like consumer politics and several other likes protest in MySpace. The focus here is on the generational decline in government connections as well as on civic engagements and considers it as a threat to democracy. The people who speak about disengaged youth mostly focus more and more on promotion of public actions and that keeps government as the key to democratic politics and also considers other social group and various institutions as the establishment of community life. These paradigms reflect the generational changes in the changing forms of citizenship with the advent of digital media. Core practices of new media adopted by youth. There are several core practices of digital media being employed by youth to access new media technologies. Circulation is the key concept here, and there are different ways of circulation by using blogging, podcasting and forwarding links. Collaboration is also key to new media technologies, and the young generation work together with other persons to produce, share information through different sources online. The other aspect of new media technologies is creation, and platforms like YouTube and Flickr gives opportunity to youth to create content easily. The fourth aspect is the connect, and the social networking sites have made it easy for the users to connect via Facebook, Twitter or through online platforms. The investigation is other component of new media technologies, and active citizens pursue information. From variety of sources, and after analysis then only authenticate the veracity of the information that is coming from different information sources. The most important thing that new media technologies have provided to the youth is the dialogue feedback option that makes active political participation possible and has changed the concept of citizenship. The other important aspect is the circulation, and the information about any issue is either posted or forwarded. The other important component is the production, where youth not only circulates information but users also generate content themselves. The last and the most important component is the mobilization, which has been made very easy by the new media technologies. Citizenships and citizen. The concept of citizenship implies that all the citizens, whether men, women, should enjoy each and every right provided by the democratic processes and are sheltered by the democratic culture. Whereas a citizen can be understood as a person who at different levels, be it local, regional or international, coexist in a society. It therefore means that citizenship must include, along with the act of voting, several other actions exercised by the individual that certainly impact community. The new media tools have provided an opportunity for the citizens to actively take part in the political process and also have given them a chance to be more knowledgeable, motivated, and also have taught certain practical skills needed to be an active citizen and to contribute something to society. The new media tools have allowed citizens to question the established orders of the society and also the functioning of the democratic system whenever there has been any malfunctioning. Youth and changing forms of citizenship. The relations of a citizen with elite institutional structures were hegemonic in the past. There was a prevalence of elite-driven politics and highly organized group actors. Also, political parties and news organizations were the major source of setting the agendas for the citizens. The citizen in such a hegemonic structure had limited opportunities of partial and truthful information, and the citizen was considered as a consumer of an elitist propaganda or misinformation. There was a severe gatekeeping at each and every institutional level, whether state machinery, media, civil society, activist groups, etc. With the advent of new media technologies, the tools of circulations and dissemination of information and access to information has become easy, and a norm has been created to share news, information, activities with friends, acquaintances, and with people who are on the same platform. There was a time when social movements and boycotts were a difficult task involving a huge amount of money and resources, and social movement organizations were gatekeepers in organizing any kind of movement. But the new media has given a chance to start movement and petitions, and there is a shift in power and control. There are several websites like change.org that provide easy opportunities for initiating social media campaign, protest, boycotts, and social movements to a wide range of individuals and groups. Since the citizens have access to these new media technologies, they have started making use of these tools to hold political leaders and even media houses accountable for their words and actions. Today, without any institutional backing, both youth and adults can start a new political group online, write and disseminate an online petition, or raise money for a civic cause, or start a social movement through a Kickstarter or other online campaigns. With the advent of new media technologies, the citizen and particularly young citizens have started using Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter and YouTube, and are playing most significant roles in connecting people globally. The need to exploit this alternative sphere was felt so early that almost all the major political parties and all the major media outlets have started social media wings so that they dominate the news and information in this particular sphere. Also, a neglect creation of any kind of alternative sphere of communication for the masses that were generally not heard and whose voice were unheard before. The coming of social media has certainly had a democratizing effect on the functioning of newspapers and news channels. The earlier monopoly of newspapers and news channels over providing news and breaking stories has been dismantled with the coming and spread of social media. Newspapers and news channels are now operating under the fear of losing their credibility to the social media. The ease of access with which a citizen can contribute his ideas and opinions freely has seen a democratizing effect and has enhanced the accountability of the public officials. Social media had played a great role in exposing several corruption cases and scams, and even news media is shifting to social media as a source of news. The The social media, being the most adapted communication tool of younger generation, has transformed the idea of being a citizen. The social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook and several others allow us to read, analyze and share content with ease and has been extensively used to support several causes and movements and for the mobilization of citizens by making them as an active citizens and providing them a platform to freely share and express their opinions and ideas, thereby contributing in policy making also. New media has created an opportunity for citizens to have a say in political agendas to a certain degree. Although new media doesn't completely erase the role of political leaders as well of the institutions, but instead provide an opportunity to shift power relations and allowing opportunities for even the common citizens and individuals to influence issues that are discussed in the public sphere. Conclusion. Summing up this lecture, we hope that you have understood the popularity of new media technologies which have changed the concept of citizenship as these technologies enable enhanced political participation of youth. The reason for the power of new media generations for increased political participation of youth is because of its low cost and unregulation. This is the reason why all the major corporations are finding ways to harnessing the digital media technologies and have jumped into new media, as this had a huge impact on the young citizens, and the citizenship roles are changing as more and more young people are actively participating in the democratic system and youth political participation has changed dramatically. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. For more details, please read the e-text of this lecture properly and attempt the questions in the end. Thank you.